So our next segment is going to be an interesting one, testing our knowledge of Catholic education as part of our celebration of 200 years of Catholic education in Australia. Please welcome your facilitator for the next part of this session and the Bicentennial Games, the National Director of Marist Schools Australia and a well-known Catholic educator, Dr. Frank Malloy. Over to you, Frank.
Well, thank you very much, Leanne, and also looking forward to this next session very much. But before we commence the next session, the Bicentennial Games, it gives me great pleasure to welcome the Minister for Education, the Honourable Dan Tehan, and the Shadow Minister for Education and Training, Tanya Plibersek. They've been very gracious, both honourable members, to provide time to be with us this afternoon and to say a few words on education and also the celebrations that we're about to commence for 200 years of Catholic education in Australia. So to commence, I firstly welcome the Honourable Dan Tehan.
Thanks, Frank, and can I say what a pleasure it is to be with you this afternoon, and can I just congratulate Catholic Church and Catholic education on 200 years of outstanding service to the community through the provision of education. And can I acknowledge Tanya Plibersek, who is also joining us this afternoon. Tanya, great to see you. It's funny, preparing for the quiz, I've had to look back at the history of the church and the church's involvement in education, and you really see what humble beginnings it all started from one school in Sydney, and then obviously with funding cut to all Catholic schools in the mid-1800s, and then obviously still providing those education services right through to today, and of course the restoration of funding in the 1960s, and then huge debates around the provision of state aid to Catholic education to where we are today, where the Catholic Church through Catholic education provides over 20% of the schools and the education in this nation. It's a huge achievement, and one which I really think is worth celebrating and worth commemorating. And it's led to us having our first saint who was also involved in education, Mary MacKillop, and potentially more to come through the great role that the church has played in our society and in educating Australians through that period of time. Can I just say also how wonderful it is to be able to recognise the role that all the principals and teachers and students have played throughout this year, throughout this pandemic. This has been an incredibly challenging time for us all. Obviously, face-to-face learning had to stop. We had to go to online learning. In some cases in Victoria, that's been for up to 6 months. But I think what we've seen is our school systems and our teachers, our principals and our students really step up to that task. And on what is today World Teachers' Day in particular, can I thank all those Catholic teachers who have provided education throughout this year. There's been enormous challenges thrown at you, but all the feedback that I've received is that all our teachers, our principals and our schools have done an outstanding job. And as a matter of fact, one of, I think, the most important things to come out of the pandemic this year has been, I think, a newfound respect for our teachers and principals. I think many parents faced with the task of having to supervise their children online found a new appreciation for the role that our teachers play, and hopefully that will have a lasting impact in the years to come, especially when we know that we have to deal with the respect that is being shown to our principals and teachers, because it's one of the things that has been continuously raised over the last few years. So hopefully that newfound respect will lead to better engagement, especially from parents towards principals and teachers in the years to come. So I'm looking forward to the quiz. I've got my buzzer ready to go. It reminds me of home, 6 a.m. wake with the roosters crowing, so it'll be very good to partake in it. And can I once again just congratulate you all for what has been an outstanding achievement in providing education to Australian children for 200 years, and for the way that the system has grown and the way that it's thrived over those 200 years. And it's wonderful to be with you.
Oh, thank you very much, Minister Tehan. And we now welcome the Honourable Tanya Plibersek, Shadow Minister for Education and Training and Federal Member for Sydney, to also say a few words. Thank you, Tanya.
Thanks so much, Frank. It's wonderful to be with you, and it's a pleasure to acknowledge the Minister as well. I'm on the land of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation today, and I pay my respects to their elders past and present, but I'm sure that all of us from every different part of New South Wales and every different part of Australia are joined in acknowledging the traditional owners of the land that you're all on as well. It's such a pleasure to be able to join you for your celebrations today. 200 years is such a fantastic achievement of longevity, but it's not just an achievement of longevity, it's an achievement of quality education across those 200 years. It's been a very difficult year. I don't think anybody would be rushing to repeat 2020. And if you'd said to teachers, to principals, to parents, to students at the beginning of our period of pandemic that they'd be expected to shift almost overnight to remote learning, in some cases for just a few days, in some cases for weeks and even months, we would have all thought that that was impossible, and yet you have all done it. And it is, as the Minister said, a real credit to the professionalism of teaching staff and school staff that we've managed to do that. I know all of you as school leaders have been trying to keep kids safe and to keep your staff safe at the same time as making sure that kids aren't missing out on an education. At the same time as you've been worried about their educational progress, you've also been worried about their social and emotional well-being, which has taken such a battering this year. And I guess not just the kids, but their families and the school communities as well. It is a real tribute to your professionalism and to the extraordinary work that schools do day in, day out, year in, year out, but that has been highlighted so magnificently this year. So thank you. Thank you for the amazing job you've done. I know that the resilience and the grit that your staff have shown is something that will inspire kids as well. They will have looked at the way that you've handled this year, and they will be, for all of the troubles that they've seen this year, they'll also see the picture of what overcoming looks like. So thank you. And like Dan, I'm very much looking forward to this. I'm actually not very much looking forward to it. Embarrassed, but I'm quite looking forward to this competition as well. Thanks.
Well, thank you very much, Tanya, and thank you, Dan. You really do honour us with your presence, and we're looking forward to your participation in the quiz, the Bicentennial Games. And to get that underway, I'd like to now introduce the teams. So on Team Dan, we have Loretta Wholley, and Loretta is the principal of Merici College in Canberra. And many would know Loretta is the president of the Catholic Secondary Principals Association. Now we also have a very fine student joining us on Team Dan, and that is Chloe Coomb. And Chloe's a Year 11 student at Cathedral College at Rockhampton in Queensland. She recently received, this is a warning shot for all competitors, she recently received academic recognition as the Year 11 Ducks. And she's also been selected as a student leader for 2021 and is a member of the Queensland Ministerial Student Advisory Council. So you're very welcome, Chloe.
Yeah, Chloe, great to have you on the team.
And then on Tanya's team, we welcome Troy Hayter. And Troy is principal at the Clontarf Aboriginal College in Perth, Western Australia. You're very welcome, Troy.
Thank you.
And joining Team Tanya, we have another very fine student, Phoebe Surman. And Phoebe is a Year 12 student from Gleeson College in Adelaide. Phoebe's a very active student and excels in performing arts and the religious life of the college. Phoebe's also represented Australia at the World Gymnastrada competitions in Austria in 2019. So we have a very talented members of both teams, and you're all very welcome.
You and I could just leave it to
We might have to, Tanya.
Now I need to explain the rules to the I need to explain the rules to the contestants, and I'd ask our honourable members to particularly take note that each multiple question is worth 5 points, but you must listen to all options before you answer. If you fail to follow that very basic rule, the consequences will be immediate and you will lose 5 points. So that's the first rule. And then the second instruction is that there are 2 questions which are who am I questions. They're worth 10 points each, and that's a free-for-all. As soon as you think you know the person, you can buzz, and I'm the sole adjudicator as to who buzzes first. But what we might do now is just check that each of our contestants has their buzzer well and truly placed close to their microphone, so they're well and truly audible. We've already heard Dan's, but Dan, I would ask you to please repeat your signal, please. Can we hear that again, please, Dan? Okay. Right, that's a rooster crowing. Thank you. Chloe. Thank you. That's a dog barking. And Loretta. Thank you, Loretta. And Team Tanya. Tanya, you're... Thank you. And Phoebe. And Troy. All right, let the games begin. First question. I have to read it and read through the... in what year was the first Catholic school established? 1770, 1820, 1860 or 1901? Tanya.
1820 by Father John Terry, and there's a Father John Terry school in Balmain electorate too.
Thank you, Tanya. You've answered not only question 1 but question 2 as well, but you won't get points for question 2. So Tanya's team is on 5 points. We will go on. We'll move beyond question 2. We've already heard the answer to that. So question 3, where was this school located? Yes, Dan.
Parramatta?
Correct.
Hang on. I was supposed to hear the options.
Oh, sorry. Yes, 5 points off me. We better do that again. So we'll go through those options. Where was this school located? Perth, Adelaide, Brisbane or Parramatta? Buzz? Yes, Dan?
Parramatta.
Correct, thank you. It's good to see competition alive. Who was George Marley, also often referred to as George Morley? Was he a convict? Did he open the first school? Is he an Irish Catholic? Or all of the above? Troy, from Team Tanya.
He was all of the above.
Correct. Thank you.
And
all
can
of
I
the above.
say, I'm glad thank God he used the money in the right way, and thank God for values of forgiveness.
Thank you very much. Okay, the next question. Next question. What crime did George commit? Trespass, abduction of a housemaid, embezzlement, or planning a rebellion? I think that was Tanya.
Surely Chloe, Frank.
I heard Chloe clearly first.
Yeah.
I heard Chloe clearly.
Oh, well, popular demand, Chloe.
Oh, come on.
Chloe, embezzlement. Very good.
Well done, Chloe.
Okay, next question. This is a 10-pointer, remember, so as soon as you think you know the answer. I was born in 1892. Was that a buzz? No.
No.
No, sorry. I was born in 1892. I died in 1921. I am the co-founder of Our Ladies Nurses of the Poor. There is a school named after me in the Sydney Archdiocese. I am known to say, for the poor and the poor only. The cause for my canonisation was launched by Archbishop Anthony Fisher Loretta.
It is Eileen O'Connor.
Correct. 10 points to Team Dan. Well done. So the next question, back to the 5-pointers. How many Catholic schools were established in Australia by 1833? 10, 50, 100 or 150? Phoebe.
10, 8.
Correct.
Good work.
Well
Vicky.
done. Australia's first bishop arrived in Sydney in 1835. He took control of Catholic schools. Who was he? Norman Gilroy, Edward Clancy, John Bede Paulding, or Anthony Fisher? I think I'm going to have to give that one to Chloe.
C. John Bede Paulding.
Correct. Thank you. Well done.
Here's an extra question. What's the name of the building where the Archbishop Fisher has his office?
You don't-
Are you going to answer that yourself?
The polling building.
Polling centre. No points. No points awarded for that. Very close to losing points.
Sorry, shut up.
Now, the next question, please. In 1857, Archbishop Paulding founded an Australian order of nuns to work in education. What were they called? The Sisters of Mercy, the Sisters of Charity, the Sisters of St Joseph, or the Good Samaritan Sisters? Once again, I think that might be Phoebe.
I'm going to go with D, the Good Samaritan Sisters.
Correct, Phoebe. Congratulations.
Good work.
And our next question. The Sisters of Charity were the first order of sisters to arrive from Ireland, and they arrived in what year? 1818, 1838, 1868 or 1908? Tanya.
1838.
Correct. We're getting
Well
close
done.
to time here. We've got Team Dan on 25 points, Team Tanya on 25 points. A few minutes left. The next question. Who am I? Get your buzzers ready, everybody. I was born in 1842. My parents were... Tanya.
Mary McKillop.
Correct. 10 points.
Mary.
Very good. Well, look, I think that's brought us to time, and we won't have time for any more questions. So I would ask everyone in the virtual audience to congratulate Team Tanya and to also commiserate but thank Team Dan for their contributions, and thank you to all of those contestants this afternoon.
Frank, can I just intervene for a second to say that I am certain that Dan also knew that last answer. I could see it in his eyes, so I'm prepared to look at the last 10 points, and I think it was a tie.
Oh, that is very gracious, Tanya.
That is very gracious of you, Tanya.
And I thank you, Dan. Sorry.
I'm very gracious of you, but I'm happy to say that you got your buzzer in first and you did incredibly well, and to your team, congratulations. I had a big victory this week when Richmond won the premiership on Saturday night, so I'm happy for you to have this one today, and can I congratulate your team on behalf of our team. And it's been fantastic fun. It's great that this has been organised, because it's the sort of thing we should do more of.
Thank you very, very much, Dan and Tanya. Thank you also to Chloe, Loretta, Phoebe and Troy. And we're now going to be taking a short break and for people to grab a coffee and enjoy some entertainment, provided courtesy of Sydney Catholic Schools and Catholic Education Tasmania. And we'd ask that you return shortly with our closing panel discussion, which will be moderated by the renowned Australian and journalist Geraldine Doog. Thank you very much.